Guys, we are back. Guys, we are back with, and we're going to get reacquainted with one of the greatest trainers of all time, one of the best who have ever done it, the incomparable Coach Ronnie Shields. Is it not playing the song?
Proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer Ronnie Shields.
Part of my week, whenever we get to convene or get reacquainted with our dear friend, the incomparable Coach Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, how are you, brother?
Doing great, Joe. Doing great.
Oh, man, I tell you what, Coach, we just got some big news yesterday. Yeah. We just got some big news yesterday that Turkey Al-Sheikh put out this Twitter saying the fight is signed and it's going to happen in the final quarter of this year. Coach, but we've heard this before at times. Do you think it's a good idea that he take an interim fight with let me pull up his name real quick. It's Mr. Christian Prenga from Albania. And you don't think there's anything wrong with this? You think this is by design, Coach?
Of course it's by design. You know, here's the thing, right? A guy in Anthony Joshua's shoes, right? The things that he's went through, right, leading up to today, with his two friends getting killed, he's in a car with them. You know, he's getting hurt. He got hurt also. And, you know, he wasn't sure if he was going to return to the ring or not. But he decided, yes, I'm going to fight again. And, you know, he had a lot on his plate. You got to understand that. And, But to go into a Tyson Fury fight without putting on the gloves in over a year, it was a big mistake, I thought, if he'd have did that. I really truly believe he needed a tune-up fight. Now, they're picking a guy that has a great record, has a lot of knockouts, but all at the same time, me and myself, this is me thinking, Joshua knows this guy very well. At some point, he may have sparred with this guy, or he just knows this guy, because he's taking a big chance fighting a puncher like this guy. But Joshua believes in his abilities. He has to. You know, he can't just fight anybody. He has to fight somebody who has a credible record. And because, look, these guys make a lot of money, so they're not just going to put you in there with somebody you can knock out in 1 or 2 rounds. Not to say that it can't happen, because it probably will happen, that he stopped this guy in a couple of rounds. But we don't know that, because this guy has a really, really good record. So, but all in all, I think Joshua, he still has the ability to be one of the best fighters in the world. And in order to do that, you have to fight somebody with good records in order to keep your, you have to stay at that level. Otherwise, when you drop to a lower level, it looks bad on you. So, but
Yeah, it
for
doesn't
me,
do really any good in preparation for the elite, does it?
no, not at all. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that, he felt they needed a tune-up because he'd been out for so long. So, and then when you go out, especially with injuries, you have to get over all of that and then get back in
Mm-hmm.
training, so it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, look, nothing about this business is easy. Just ask Lanier Perro this past Saturday, who fought Big Baby Jarrell Miller. Okay, now look, I'm going to say this, guys. Something has to be done about these Cubans. For some reason, you give them a little bit of money, you put them in South Florida, and all they want to do is party, coach. And
Yeah,
it was obvious, coach, he wasn't in shape. He found out about this fight 4 weeks ago, right?
yeah,
And of course, he's not going to turn down an opportunity to become number one contender in one of the sanctioned organizations.
right.
And it was obvious, though, from all the partying he had done over the last 5 months. He was in shape for about 3 rounds, and after that, he just sat on the ropes and let the big fat guy beat on him.
Yeah,
Coach, and I know you have a lot of experience dealing with the Cuban nationals. And aside from Marislandi Lotta, who is a perfect pupil, yeah, most of them, these young kids, they love the party. They love that taste of freedom. What has to be done? And you can't just take them by the hand and babysit them the entire time.
no, you can't. You can't.
So what do we do? Because it was obvious, hey, he looked great for 3 rounds against Miller. He was beating him. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden he runs out of gas, just slubs on the ropes, and gives away the rest of the fight.
yeah.
So
Well,
what has to be done? Because I know you know a lot about this, and we're not going to mention any names.
well, here's the thing, right? You know, if these guys don't take their future in boxing serious, then there's nothing you can do about it. It's nothing you can do about it. Obviously they took Big Baby lightly. They thought,
Uh,
we'll just run over him. That's the easy fight for us. But they didn't realize Big Baby came in shape. And you know what? I personally knew he was in shape
Oh, yeah.
because my guy out of Waling went out to spar with him for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I know my guy. He was calling me, giving me updates. Because I was, I wanted him to give me updates about basically him. But he was telling me, hey man, this guy's in shape. He's going to throw a lot of punches in this fight. So he really surprised. He really surprised him
Oh,
because,
yeah.
and he had a smart strategy. Big Baby had a really smart strategy. The first 2 rounds, he just sit back and just let the guy throw punches at him, which was, he gave the first 2 rounds away. But then in the third round, he jumped on him and he stayed right in his chest. And then every round, the last 15, 20 seconds, he just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing punches like crazy. The Cuban couldn't keep up with it.
Nope.
He couldn't keep up with that. And, at some point, though, around the 11th round, I thought Big Baby had ran out of gas because he gave the 11th round away.
Oh, yeah.
But he gave that away to finish strong in the 12th. And
There it
that
is.
he did,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew he was ahead on the scorecards. I mean, you had to be blind not to think he was ahead on the scorecards.
Yeah. Of course.
But he fought the perfect fight. The strategy was perfect. And, when you're a young guy, you have to know that these older guys have something on their sleeve all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing for these young guys to do, get yourself in shape. Be ready for anything.
Yep.
But
They don't
he
stay in
wasn't.
the gym,
He wasn't. And
especially
it's
the
a shame.
heavyweights, coach. They don't
Yeah,
stay in the gym because they don't have to make weight.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. It's
It's a
frustrating,
shame.
coach. And look, when are they going to learn that these opportunities don't come around all the
And
time?
that's what I was just getting ready to say. That, you know, he may get another opportunity because people go think that's the way he is all the time. But if he was smart, he'd get himself in shape, stay in shape, and be ready for anything because you never know when that call is going to come.
Yep. You never know in boxing when that call is going to come. Look at Christian Prenga.
Yep.
Now he's got an opportunity on July 25th to take on Anthony Joshua, former two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, and it's going to be on the big stage. And so now that this has been slated for July 25th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Moses Italma versus your fighter, Philip Hergovich, has to be moved because they had the same date, and DAZN said, no. Anthony Joshua and Turkey Al-Sheikh on Riyadh season, they get priority. Frank Queensberry, you're going to have to move the phenom Moses Italma to a later date. And as we speak right now, they're looking for another date. But I'm going to ask you, Coach. Now, I know he has to fight David Allen. Let's just be honest. Philip is going to blow through David Allen like a hot knife through butter. But let's be frank, and I'm going to ask you this because you spent a lot of time with Philip.
Yep.
Does Philip have an opportunity to upset the phenom? This is by far his toughest test to date, and let's be honest. His only loss is to a guy who went on to knock out Anthony Joshua and win the world title in Daniel Dubois. Does Philip have what it takes to humble the young Moses Italma and hand him his first upset loss?
I don't think so. I really and truly don't believe so. Trust me, Italma wouldn't be fight Hergovich unless they seen something that they know they can exploit.
Well, you're saying this because you've seen something.
Well, I've seen a lot in Italma.
Yep.
But, let me tell you something, man. This kid, and he's a youngster. He's really that good. He shows me a lot. But the thing about it with Philip is, Philip has a lot of experience. And he's been through the wars, so he knows. And the thing that he has to know is that he can't let Italma dictate nothing in this fight. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long night for him. So his best bet is to get through David Allen and then get himself in the best shape he's ever been in, because he's going to need that to face this kid Italma, because this kid throws punches and hard punches. He's a puncher. He's not just somebody you can play with.
No. And look, looking at the hand speed, the natural athletic gifts, that's a huge advantage for Moses Italma. Because let's be honest, Jermaine Franklin, you saw as early as the first round, had no chance from mid to long range to beat this kid. Because of the speed, reflexes. Oh my goodness. You're not going to be able to touch that guy. He's got almost like Benitez type radar, Canelo type radar between his eyes. He can see everything coming from that range. Yeah. So Philip, he doesn't fight on the inside, does he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And that's a problem.
That's why you like Moses in this fight, huh?
Yes, absolutely. If I was still training Philip, right, the thing I would tell him is get yourself in the best shape of your life. Because the thing about Moses is he comes, but he comes with punches first. Mm-hmm. He ain't gonna just run in on you. He's throwing punches as he going in. That's tough. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have a good defense to get away from that. And then you have to have a better offense to keep him off.
Yep.
So,
And so here's the dilemma. And it's almost like when you look at Juan Manuel Marquez, it took him 4 attempts to finally beat Manny Pacquiao, right?
yeah,
And every time he said, well, I can't match speed with this guy.
exactly.
He's too fast. He's too athletically gifted. He's more athletically gifted than I am. I have no choice but to throw with him. And that's not very reassuring, coach, when your only or your best chance to win is to punch with him because of
Yeah,
the speed disparity. That's what Phillips faced with, isn't he?
absolutely. It's
Oh,
the same
man.
thing. It's the same. No, really and truly, it's the same thing. You know, but the thing about it is, speed kills. And if you can't match it or counter it, you can't win. Simple.
Oof. Yeah, there's an old saying, timing beats speed, but if you're not used to seeing that in the gym,
So
best of luck to you.
you got to find somebody that can match that, that you can, your eyes play a big part in that, because, you got to be able to see things. And if you can't see it, you can't stop it.
Oh, man, coach, that's wow. I feel bad for Philip. But hey, you know what? This is welcome to the big dance. And these
Absolutely.
opportunities are very rare. And from what I've been told, it's contracted that his next fight is going to be against Moses Italma. They're looking for a new date. And while I say that, guys, please let's welcome our dear friend to the stage, Mr. Boxing Source, Big James. Big James, how you doing, brother?
You're doing okay. Just been running behind schedule here. Just good to catch up with the coach, man. Coach, how you doing?
You're doing great. How you doing, James?
Doing all good. Doing all good.
Well, I will say this, guys, and we need to do this, guys. There have been a lot of hoopla talking about Congress where Oscar De La Hoya says, I feel like I've been railroaded. They didn't want to listen. And now the cards are stacked against me with lies. And look, I'm going to say this. Every promoter that helped us get to this point needs to shut up and sit down. You had your chance, but we're here for a reason, guys. We're going to give you a history lesson so you understand things. Coach Ronnie, when you first got into this business, how was the market here in the U.S.? Was it healthy for boxing?
No, it was really healthy for boxing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you had Tuesday night fights, you had Friday night fights, you had Saturday night fights. I mean, and
And it
this
was
was
on mainstream TV.
mainstream television. We
Yep.
didn't, it wasn't no pay-per-views. It wasn't none of that stuff. You could, every now and then pay-per-view would come up, but you was able to see it for nothing.
Yep. And so, guys, we need to remind you that it's the promoters right now who are belly aching about Dana White who brought us here now to where we are. Don King, he was the biggest culprit, the greediest man in boxing. Bob Arum, once again, he was no saint either. The
Nope.
Duvas, they played the game too. Gary Shaw, Goose and Tudor. All these guys had a part and said and did nothing but kill the sport. And they were looking at their own bottom line and not looking out for the health of the sport. This has been my biggest criticism of the business of boxing, coach. Since we met, I'm saying, well, it looks like to me that this sport, it's comprised of thousands of sole proprietorships, and not one of them are concerned with the future health of the product. And look where we are now. So we're going to give you a timeline, guys. So what did the first big mistake that promoters did back in the day? They went to the highest bidder and put the product behind a paywall in HBO and Showtime, taking it off ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Yep.
That was mistake number one, coach. How awesome was it when we got to see our beloved boxing, the biggest events on free TV back in the day?
Oh man, it was great. The ratings was great. People from all over know who you were when you walked down the street. Hey man, I seen you on NBC. Or I seen you on CBS. I seen you on ABC WA.W Sports. You know, that was,
And do you remember when they used to even show the amateur contests?
yeah, they did.
So
They
we
did.
already knew who was
They
going to
did.
be the next big stars of boxing.
Yeah, because they used to show the finals of the National Golden Gloves and
Yep.
the AUs, everything. And everything was on free television.
And guys, promoters with their greed, they took it away. So
Yep,
I don't want to hear anything from any of these guys. And the next big time mistake that they did, and because of their laziness as well as greed, they took the events from mainstream America and put it away in all of these casinos. And
yep,
why? Because once again, they not only took care of the big licensing fee who paid for the main events, but the undercard.
yep,
They went for the big site fee that
yep.
these casinos were offering, so they didn't have to do any more work. Hey, our job is done. We paid for the undercard. We paid for the main event. We don't even have to promote these events anymore or sell tickets. That's the
Yep.
casino's job.
Yeah.
And they washed their hands of everything, not realizing what a detriment it would be by taking these events away from mainstream USA.
Yep.
Did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out, Coach?
No, everything you said was true. And
And that's where we are now.
the problem is they didn't look at the future.
Nope.
They was looking at what was happening then. They didn't care about what was going to happen years later. You know, they was looking out for number one, and it hurt the
Yep.
sport.
Yep.
It hurt
And
the sport
look,
really bad.
yep, it was, look where we are now. We're reduced to basically, like, Coach, did you ever think that our beloved boxing would be reduced to being a fringe pastime in the American market?
No, not at all. I could have never imagined this.
So
Never.
every promoter that's in America who caused this, who contributed to this, they need to shut up, sit their ass down, and let Turkey Al Sheikh and Dana White try to solve it, because they didn't. They had their chance.
They
They
did.
had their chance. So
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. James, do you have any comments on this final shot before we move on and start talking about the big fights this weekend? Woo!
A couple of things. Two factors, if you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
One, that transition in the late 70s, early 80s, right? You talk about those fights that were on network television, the ABCs, the NBCs, the CBSs, right? They had that go to a paywall, one, and they did it pretty much like at the worst type of time, because you also had the rise of the NBA and the NFL from an urban market. So what ended up happening was, and this is like, for me being, growing up as a kid and growing up to being a teenager, is that were coming up, that were young, that took up boxing or could have taken up boxing, picked up a basketball or picked up a football. You know, um, when I came up in high school, I had two people that were, one was a former football player in high school, ended up being a fighter, and the other one was basically there in boxing. The heavyweight contender Travis Walker, right, and a former world champion Tavares Cloud, and it was basically football in our area. That
Mm-hmm.
was the big thing. And so when you have a number of these young men, 17, 18, 19 years old, they're like choosing either to pick up gloves or to pick up a football. And, if they see in the glory of the football on ABC, CBS, NBC through Monday Night Football and Sunday nights, and not really seeing what's going on with boxing that much, then they're going to gravitate towards football.
Yeah, look, guys, this became a problem, and that's a very good point, James. Because yes, we saw the country's best athletes start to gravitate towards other sports. That's why we haven't seen dominant American heavyweights, not on a regular basis, because they all went to go play basketball and football. But hey, you snooze, you lose. And look, I'm sorry, you can't blame anyone else but the damn promoters.
Absolutely.
So, so all of those guys like Lou DiBella, Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, shut your ass up and sit your ass down because you did this. You did this. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. Oh, Chihuahua. Guys, let's shift gears and talk about the big events coming up this weekend because this is a huge weekend for boxing, isn't it, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 2nd. We've got two massive elite level matchups coming up this Saturday night. First one we're going to address because it's happening very early in the morning on the other side of the world in Inoue versus Junto Nakatani. Coach, does it get any better than this in any division?
Not at all. These are two. This could be like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Both of these guys are good.
Yep.
And this is a great fight.
Oh my gosh. Now, it's funny. Both of these guys are known for knocking their opponents out.
Yep.
But do you see a knockout happening in this elite level matchup, Coach?
I do, because I think Inoue is going to win.
Wow.
I believe he's going to win by knockout. I think he has to prove, look, anytime your name is up there as pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world, you have to continue to prove that they're fighting the best fighters out there. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's trying to prove, I'm showing you guys, I'm fighting all the best fights, all the big fights. And this kid, that's what he's doing. He deserves to be in the top 2, top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world. And every fight he proves it, that he belongs there.
Oof.
So
look, I'll say this, Coach. If he beats Junto Nakatani, which is a tall order,
yeah.
If he beats him convincingly,
yeah.
And if he especially if he does what you predict, and if he stops him, you know what? He hands down, he is the number 1 pound for pound fighter of this sport today.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you can see it any other way.
No, you can't. You can't see it in no other way.
Oh man, Coach,
he's fighting the best guys in his division.
Now, look, I understand that Junto Nakatani in his first fight at super bantamweight, yeah, he had a tough time because he found out, boy, these guys are tough and they can punch.
Absolutely.
In this bigger division, 122. But
yep.
That styles make fights, Coach.
All day long.
This is a difficult fight for both men. And honestly, I think this is a 50-50 fight. And we've seen Inoue. We've seen him get touched up. Our boy Ramon Cardenas.
Yep.
Floored him. Luis Neri floored him.
Yep.
And yeah, I think this is going to be a pick'em fight, in my opinion. But once again, I don't have the eyes you do, Coach.
He gets up and he keeps proving.
Oh man,
that I'm the best.
Oh, and it's amazing to watch, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely,
man.
It's amazing.
James, who do you like in this matchup, brother?
I favor Inoue in the way in this. It was crazy that they have, identical records. This will be like their 33rd professional fight for each. And Inoue has a higher knockout ratio. I think it's like 27 to 24. But for Naoya Inoue, like he's been fighting at a high level since he was basically in the light flyweight division. So
Absolutely.
it's absolutely insane what he's been able to do in his professional career. And it gets just way that yeah, he's clear cut number one pound for pound.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what,
And,
guys, the
and that's the thing.
fans.
He fights the best fighters out there. He don't
Mhm.
want from anybody. That's experience that you can't buy.
That's it. That's it. There's no substitute for experience, Coach, is there?
None whatsoever.
Well, I'll tell you who else wants to fight the best out there, but for some reason just can't, because he's largely viewed as more risk than reward. And I'm referring to another fighter who's competing this Saturday night, and that's going to be from Las Vegas, Nevada, at the T-Mobile Arena, and they've been having trouble selling tickets, Coach. And I'm referring to David Benavidez. This is a guy who cannot buy the biggest fights, and it's a shame.
Shame.
And he's been calling out the best. He wants to fight Canelo. He wants to fight Bivol. And both opportunities, they were right there, and both guys balked at it. They didn't want any part of David Benavidez for some strange reason. And so we have to commend, guys. This is not the fight that we wanted, but technically, the style matchup is favorable. This should be a really fun fight to watch. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. Now, we mentioned this earlier when analyzing Philip Hrgovic versus Moses Itama. Coach, do you see the same situation here with David and Zurdo with the speed disparity?
See, but here's the thing, right? These guys used to spar together all the time.
Yeah.
So they know each other so well.
Yep.
So it's a different fight between Itama and Hrgovic and Zurdo and Benavidez, because these guys know each other. They know exactly what they're going each is going to do. So this is what's going to make it difficult. And this is going to be a really good fight. I can't wait to see.
It's going to be a fight of the year candidate, guys.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Because look,
wait.
say what you want, and I know a lot of people are saying that Zurdo is going to be outclassed here, but man, he is super durable. He's got a great chin, and he throws a ton of punches. He matches volume with Benavidez.
Yes, and that's why I say this is going to be a very difficult fight. I can't wait to see this thing.
Oh my goodness, guys! This is going to be the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm going to this fight.
Yes, Coach Ronnie.
I'm going because they're going to announce Saturday with a press conference, Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu. So I'll be over there.
Woo! I tell you what, and a lot of fans are getting upset about this, Coach. Wait a minute, why is Al Heyman and Tom Brown, why are they allowing Errol Spence to fight in Australia? Can you explain that to them and just tell everyone, guys, it's a bigger fight in a healthier market at this time?
Absolutely. It's a bigger fight in Australia. Absolutely. I mean, come on, man. This is boxing.
This is like the World Series down there.
Absolutely. You got to go where's all that?
Yep. Guys, look.
It's a bigger fight in Australia than it is in the United States. Sad to say.
Once again, to all the promoters who put us here, who brought us here, this is what happens when you don't consider the future health of our beloved boxing.
Yep.
This is what we get. Healthier markets all around the world, and USA, it's turned into a fringe pastime.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, we got that out of the way. How do you feel about Errol Spence? How's he looking in the gym, Coach?
Well, since he left a couple of weeks ago, he went home for a couple of weeks to be with his family. And we start camp after Mother's Day. So that's when we start.
Very good. And are you excited to work with the future Hall of Famer, Errol Spence Jr.?
No doubt, no doubt. I'm already putting together a game plan and just waiting, you know, waiting until you get here so we can get started, you know. But I've already done some research and I know exactly how I think we should fight him.
And I tell you what, you've got the best brain, one of the best brains in boxing, Coach, the best eyes in boxing. And that's obviously why Earl Spence has chosen you to be chief second and the consummate strategist for this fight. And we can't wait to see it, Coach. Congratulations. And you get the WaraWeek round of applause. Yes. Oh, Coach, and you get to take in all of the action this Saturday from the T-Mobile Arena. Coach, are you looking forward to the co-main event? Talk about Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yeah,
Jose Armando Resendez versus Jaime Munguia.
yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight because I really and truly hope Jamal Charlo gets to fight the winner.
Yep, that's it. That's it. So who do you think? Okay, here's the drum roll. Here we go. Who do you think?
I'm gonna lean with Resendez on this one. I just think, I think Munguia has, he's fought a lot of fights and he's been in a lot of wars, and Resendez hasn't. And I think that's going to take its toll on Munguia. I could be wrong because Munguia is a really good fighter, but I think the younger Resendez, has a lot more in the tank. So I'm gonna pick Resendez.
Yeah, Jaime, boy, ever since that brutal knockout at the hands of the Frenchman, yeah, he seems to be questioning everything. And he just, correct me if I'm wrong, this is his first camp with Canelo's team, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
I think it might be a second camp with them. I think maybe a second camp.
Okay, very good. Either way, not good when you start switching camps, because
Not
we've
at all.
seen this from Munguia. He's switched several trainers, including spending a lot of time with Eric Morales.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach. And also, look, when you're part of your strategy is to block punches with your face, like Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, and let's be honest, that's what Jaime Munguia did. When you finally crack that rock, is it ever the same again, Coach?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Something tells me Resendez knows this.
Oh, trust me. The thing about it, you don't have to look for Munguia. Munguia really don't have anything to keep him off of him. So Munguia's not that good boxer to where he has good foot movement. He's a prouder. So he's going to be right there for Resendez to don't have to look for him. He's going to be right there for him.
Oh, man, Coach. Yeah. Look, the fans are going to win out with both the co-main event and the main event.
I believe
guys.
so.
And also, guys, happy Cinco de Mayo weekend. We've got Oscar Duarte, who was supposed to fight Richardson Hitchens, even calling him out. And, that show around the world is going to be taking on another warrior in Angel Fierro. This is another one. It's going to be nonstop action, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. I love it at 140.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Joe, I'm gonna step off for a few and they'll be back in a second, all right?
Very good. Thank you for being here, James. God bless you, my friend.
I'll be back. Hold on.
All right, very good. I'll tell you what. This is going to be a great card, guys. Purchase it. And once again, it's being distributed not only by Amazon Prime, but by DAZN as well. Okay? So, guys, purchase this. Financially support your beloved boxing because, like we've just stated earlier in the show, the house is on fire in the American market. Hey, it's very healthy everywhere else now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I wonder why. Guys, once again, please start being part of the solution. Purchase these things. Do not illegally stream it. Purchase these events, guys, because boxing needs your help. And they are giving you the fights that you've been requesting. These are going to be great fights from Japan and from Nevada, Las Vegas. And
Yep.
Coach, what else on the boxing calendar, once again, are you looking forward to? I tell you what, Coach, oh my gosh, they're talking right now about Conor Benn fighting Ryan Garcia.
I saw that.
Is
Yeah.
Conor Benn, is he biting off a little more than he can chew at this time, calling out the current WBC welterweight champion?
Well, here's the thing, right? He has to fight because Zuffa's not gonna pay him all that money, and he don't fight anything. So why not? But it's a good thing for him because that's a great fight for him also. It's not a pushover fight, but it's one he's gonna have to really fight. It's not gonna be like Regis Progress. It's a tougher fight because Ryan can punch.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
And he's seemingly in his fighting prime. And
yeah.
Look, I'll say this. Fighters, when they sign these big money contracts and they want that big money, they forget they're going to have to fight someone capable and someone who the fans want to see to support that big money.
But the only problem I see is that if he fight Ryan, that means he's have to fight for Ryan's title.
That's it.
What's going to happen with Zuffa? They don't want to deal with WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO. They don't want to deal with them. And if Conor Benn was to win, what's going to happen? Is he going to give it up? He may not want to give up that belt if he wins it. Then what?
Well, yeah. Well, look, something tells me that it hasn't been Zuffa or TKO with the ones who've had the problem. It was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the IBF and the WBC who pulled their
Yes, they did.
Okay, so I don't understand what the problem is. It's like, in the immortal words of Rodney King, can't we all just get along? Shit.
Well, but here's the problem, Joseph. Here's the problem. The problem is Zuffa have 9 weight classes. Okay?
That's it.
They only have 9 weight classes.
Very good point, Coach.
Their guys can't fight. If you sign to Zuffa, you can't fight for a 160-pound title. You can't fight for a 140-pound title. You can't fight for a 175-pound title.
Yep.
Well, you can fight for 75. 168.
Yeah. So what is the logic?
68.
So what is the logic behind taking away those middleweight divisions, like the junior middleweight or super welterweight, however you want to characterize it, super lightweight?
Going back to the beginning. Back to the beginning, it was only 8 weight classes.
I know, but there's a reason why we extended those.
They have 9 because they kept the cruiserweight, because they felt it was a big difference between 175 and 200. They felt that 25 pounds was a big difference, so they added the cruiserweight, which is good. The cruiserweights should be happy that they did that. But still, when you go from 135 pounds to say, I can't fight at 140 with Zuffa, I got to fight at welterweight. That's a huge difference.
That's
For a
not
smaller
good.
guy.
Are they forgetting why we originally implemented these weight
That's the
divisions?
reason
For the health of the sport?
for the health of
For
the
the health
sport.
of these fighters?
Yes, exactly. That's the reason they was implemented. And
Yep.
this is the reason it passed. It passed because fighters were killing themselves because they didn't want to go up in weight. They felt they had a better chance down in weight. But then when they made the weight, when they implemented the 140 pounds, otherwise you had to fight from 135 to 147. That's
It's
a
a
big
big jump.
difference.
That's a big,
Yes.
big jump.
So when they implemented 140, man, so many fighters were so happy because, they figured I got a chance now to win a world title. I don't have to kill myself. But fighters were still killing themselves to try to still make 135 instead of going to 147.
And now we have a different problem with the day before weigh-ins. Sometimes, often, now that weigh-ins are held in the morning, the actual weigh-ins, not the weigh-in ceremony,
Right.
now you've got 36 hours to rehydrate, and now you've got this problem all over again.
Yep. Yep.
Oh
And
boy.
that's a huge problem.
So in
You
Coach, your estimated what weight do you think Zurdo is going to be when the bell rings on Saturday night?
225.
Man.
Holy cow.
Oh, man. Wow.
He's going to be as heavy as Alexander Usyk.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. That's going to slow him down.
Yep.
Carrying that weight because he can't train at that weight. He can't train at that weight, but he's going to fight at that weight.
Oh boy. That makes no sense at all.
None whatsoever. Why would you want to gain all that weight? But that's what these guys do.
Well, I tell you what, we haven't brought this up, but we're running out of time. What was your grade? What was your scorecard? How did you actually grade your fighter, Vito Milnecki Jr., and his appearance on Pro Box a couple weeks ago? What grade did you give him? He pitched a virtual shutout against a very tough fighter. What grade did you give him, sir?
I gave him an A-. I would have. He was close to getting an A+, but he didn't knock him out, so he got the A-.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I liked what I saw, but I loved your instruction. You were like, wait a minute, you've got him on the ropes. Why don't you keep working?
Yeah.
You can get this guy out of here. Why aren't you working while he's on the ropes? Why are you letting him escape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why we have a corner, right?
I thought you guys did a tremendous job in a very entertaining main event in which Vito showed, he's just a much higher level than this cat. And, I really, so what's next for Vito? How soon do you see him fighting for one of the vacant world titles?
I don't know. He's fighting again on Pro Box July 11th.
July 11th. Well, I tell you what, we look forward to it. Coach, is there anything else? He's fight. You already know who he's going to fight.
Yes, I got the name a couple of days ago.
Very good, very good. Well, activity is a fighter's best friend. So you guys are doing the right thing. Pro Box is doing the right thing with Vito and Vito Senior, and so we look forward to seeing him in the ring again. Coach, is there anything else you'd like to announce before your big press conference with Errol Spence Jr., Tim Zhu, PBC, Tom Brown?
Yeah, just, be looking forward to, to announcing that fight and looking forward to getting Errol down here and, getting him prepared for that fight. That's a huge fight for Errol and for Tim Zhu, and it's a big fight for boxing.
Amen. Amen. Congratulations, Coach. I tell you what, last thing we're going to touch on, because the last time we spoke to you, the fight was just announced between Jaron Boots Ennis and Xander Zayas. Now, with a couple weeks past now, and you've had time to think about this matchup, do you still feel like Boots, stylistically, he's going to have some stylistic issues with Xander Zayas, but he should win? Do you still feel the same way at this matchup?
Yeah, I still feel the same way. I just feel that, Boots, with the experience Boots has, Xander has some experience, but Boots has really fought some good guys. And with Boots switching from Southpaw to Orthodox, you have to train for both.
Mm-hmm.
And not that it gives you an advantage, because it doesn't, but Boots is so skilled on both sides. And that's where the problem comes in. He's just as good Southpaw as it is Orthodox. And that's a problem.
Yeah, from mid to long range, it is a problem. James, do you feel any differently about this matchup? Because you're picking Jaron Boots Ennis as well.
Yeah, I'm picking him. It's going to be, at least I got him for a late stoppage round 8 or 9. I think he's going to be too fast for Xander Zayas, not just with his hand speed, but with his foot speed. I think his shiftiness is going to be a real issue for Xander Zayas. I know that Zayas has, been working really hard. He's had, a few fights here and there. He's fought, a former champion in Patrick Teixeira in the past, getting these wins, these recent wins to become a unified world champion. But his movement is not going to be fast enough for someone like Boots Ennis. And I think that he's going to really be surprised a few times early in the bout with the speed that Boots has. And then he'll just eventually, get worn down to a late stoppage.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's why they fight the fights. Can't wait to see it, guys. That's going to be happening in just a bit. James, now that it seems that you're off the road, is there anything that you would like to ask the coach at this time before we say good night?
Well, it's not necessarily something to ask the coach. My thing was with the announcement that he made in reference to this week, which I was going to be out there in Vegas. I'm going to miss out on that. I will be at the Pro Box event on May 1st here in the area. So going to be looking forward to, the press conference that Mr. Ronnie Shields will be involved in. And hopefully I'll be able to work out something to get over that way within the next 6 or 7 weeks.
Very good. Very
looking
good.
forward to, the fights on May 1st, especially the main event and the co-feature. And I agree with y'all with Benavidez having the advantage there over Zerto, and there with Armando Resendiz having the advantage over Jaime Munguia. And, shout out to Manny Robles there under the camp with Resendiz. He's really done well with Resendiz here recently.
And amen. Very good observations, brother. Coach, is there anything else that you'd like to touch on or discuss before we let everyone go? And guys, just to let you know, I already know this to be true. I don't know why the rest of the media, they're saying, oh, well, Moses Itama, they're trying to figure out who they're going to fight next. No, it's in Philip's contract. Moses Itama is going to be fighting Filip Hrgović, Coach Ronnie's former fighter. That's a done deal, guys. I know this to be true. And upon speaking with the DAZN brass, they're just trying to scramble to find a new date. That's it. But that fight's a done deal. And once again, I wish both men the best of luck. But Filip, yeah, man, he's in a predicament, isn't he, Coach?
No doubt.
Yeah. Once again, a devastating knockout puncher, a guy who throws from so many different angles. You're going to have to throw with him. That's your strategy to win. Best of luck. Oh, oh, jeez. I'll tell you what, though, that's why they fight the fights. This is, and all credit to Filip, this is going to be by far Moses' toughest test to date.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
At
Coach,
least on
which
paper.
fight? At least on paper, we'll see if it plays out that way. Who knows? But, Coach, which fight are you most looking forward to this weekend?
This weekend, I'm looking forward to Vicentes and Munguia.
Amen. Amen. James, which fight are you most looking forward to seeing this weekend?
It'll be tough for me to see this live, but Inoue Nakatani. Got to be Inoue Nakatani.
Yeah, that's
Well, I tell you what, maybe you know what. Once again, you can't lose. This is such an amazing weekend for fight fans, guys. Tell your friends who aren't diehard boxing fans that this is the weekend. If you focus on boxing this weekend, guys, and look, I'll be honest. I want to see how David Benavidez fares against the behemoth Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, who's going to weigh in as heavy as Alexander Usyk. Oh, geez. Guys, this is going to be an amazing weekend for boxing, and I'm there for it. I'm there. But, Coach Ronnie, any parting shots for our listening audience before we say goodbye?
As always, you can follow me on Instagram at official Ronnie Shields.
Yes, Coach Ronnie. And I want to thank our brother Big James for joining us. I tell you what, guys, if you haven't already, please go bookmark theboxingsource.net and subscribe to The Boxing Source on YouTube. Please. But guys, on behalf of the living legend, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to War a Week Boxing. Have a great Tuesday night, everybody.
Ventures proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer Ronnie Shields.